We have to remember that we create our own reality. And there's a lot of people who are skeptical about that, and that's fine. People are welcome to their skepticism. I used to be skeptical. I used to be one of those people who was like, oh yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. I was a pessimist. And then I had my third spiritual awakening, found my spiritual path, went through some really hard times, came out of it, and became closer with spirit because of it. And then I also came into my actual spiritual gifts, right? So if you are able to believe in little things every day, perhaps that's how you can fine-tune these thoughts, these daily habits. A lot of emphasis on the mental. Spirit is actually helping you fine-tune these things. I think I may have mentioned this in another reading because I work with archangels and other angels. Archangel Uriel is really great for working with your thoughts. Also your nervous system. So if you have any kind of anxiety or stress disorders, Archangel Uriel can actually help you transmute your thoughts. Okay, I've personally worked with Archangel Uriel with this. And if you don't know how to work with angels and you don't know anything about transmutation, definitely go back and check out some of my other readings to kind of get acquainted with my work. I now have about over 260 videos on this channel, and it's a variety of content. But ever since about February, I have become a stronger channel for Source, and we'll be doing more channeled messages going forward and tarot. Okay, blending my astrological gifts. So, you know, these things that we believe about ourselves do actually create our reality. Whether you want to say you're a magician and you believe in the law of attraction, or you're pagan, or you're Christian and you pray to God. Again, I'm a non-denominational channel, but I'm very open-minded here. However you receive your blessings, you co-create somehow. And if you're somebody who doesn't believe in that, then there's probably a reason you were brought to this content and you're still listening. It probably means, and I activate people, so if you don't want to know anything more, you should just leave this reading now. For those of you that are still here, it means that you have just entered a spiritual awakening, or you are becoming aware of a spiritual awakening. Or it's possible that you've already had one, but you went back to the 3D concepts of the Matrix, of the physical world. And I'm not talking about conspiracy. If you are thinking that I'm speaking conspiracy, this is not your message. Maybe you should come back to this another day, okay? That is not at all what that is. We're talking about different realms of existence, what we create through our consciousness and what we experience tangibly in the physical world. That is the difference between the 3D and the 5D, okay? That's the easiest way Spirit and I can break it down. And then I just pulled the Magician card. Yeah, this is not a joke. You are creating your own reality. Spirit is trying to get everyone to understand that if they believe, if they surrender, if they trust the process, that says more about your belief, trust, and faith in yourself than it does about Spirit. Because we are all united in Spirit. We are all connected. We are all Source. We are all Spirit. We are all the divine. We are all human as well. Well, most of us. That's a topic for another day. So keep in mind that the ability for you to live in a magical reality is completely up to you. And we're not talking about delusions here. We're not talking about mental illness. We're not talking about delusions of grandeur, which, by the way, is a trait of people with personality disorders. I'm an advocate, so I speak on breaking stigmas. And I'll tell you, as somebody who came from a background where my spiritual soul was absolutely crushed by a certain authority figure who continues to slander and defame me to this day, that I have not spoken illy about, just stating that I'm aware, and I'm done with the nonsense. I've done my healing, I've forgiven, I'm moving forward. And I feel like some of you have been through the same. Some of you have been through the same. Some of you had your inner child squashed by somebody that was supposed to protect you. Some of you lost that innocence. Some of you, and I'm not going into anything specific, so don't freak out here. I'm just saying that a lot of you had your ability to believe crushed. And in the last channeled message, we talked about belief. We talked about the Pisces North Node and how it's especially going to be illuminated and kicked off with this Pisces lunar eclipse. If you're catching this a couple months down the road, again, this is timeless. And my point is that eclipses typically last about 6 months, right? So that energy is going to carry us all the way to the new moon in Pisces, which will be at the beginning of next year. I haven't looked at the calendar yet, but it's either the end of February or the beginning of March. It depends on what part of the season it falls on, right? But we always have a new moon and a full moon in the same sign 6 months apart. That might be useful for some, right? So we're talking about the collective moving into these I believe mindsets which Pisces rules, and Pisces is ruled by Neptune. Now people like to give this sign a lot of shade because they don't understand it, because they don't know how to go deep, and that means that those people can work on their consciousness and expanding if they so choose. But we all have a choice. Again, going back to creating our own reality, we decide if we're going to take a chance to believe. We decide if we are worth trusting. Because when you don't trust the world, it says more about your lack of trust within yourself. It says that you believe that only bad things happen to you, that you're being punished, that the world is happening to you, which therefore you're giving all your power away to everything that hurts you. So Spirit's emphasizing this here with the Devil card. Spirit's emphasizing this, that you've come out of that chapter. You have worked so hard to not be around those energies, whatever that is. You know who you've become. You know what you've been creating. You've been doing it in private. You've been doing it mostly in secret with the Hermit card. And now that we are in Hermit energies, Virgo energies in this season, that's all getting illuminated. You also want to remember that with the South Node in Virgo, Pisces polar opposite, right? We're talking about what we're already comfortable with and what we need to leave behind, transmute, transform into the Piscean energy. Now, we're not saying that Virgos don't believe or the Virgo energy doesn't believe. That's not it at all. It's more about the focus, right? Virgo energy is very honed into the details. It's always, it can be a perfectionist, the energy, right? We're not talking about specific people. We're talking about energies here. It can be about your due diligence and really looking at all the finer print and being very rational, being very skeptical, studying something deeply. Well, Pisces is talking about just be a fish, be free, just flow. Trust intuition, trust source, trust faith. Let go of these categories, this, what I want to say, where are you going with this, Spirit? Channeling here. Self-concepts that are limiting, that are putting you into a box, right? I talked a little bit about that in my last channeled message. Again, I'm not going to go back to it. I'm just going to keep going where Spirit's trying to take us here. So we're talking about compartmentalization, right? Some of you need to actually integrate, not compartmentalize, because integration is about coming into union with Spirit, and Pisces being the 12th sign of the zodiac, being the elder of the zodiac, having embodied every single sign, can actually mold into anything, like water in a cup, water in a tub, water in the ocean. Water can flow free. Water can hydrate. It can bring life. It can also flood and submerge. Trigger warning, I hope that doesn't affect anybody who's gone through the floods. I'm a sensitive soul. If you found that annoying, well, take a deep breath. Anyways, water can be whatever you want to make it. It can also dissipate. It can dissolve. So water can help you dissolve the past. Water can help you purify the present. Water can help you fulfill your future. Okay, so we're very much talking about that. I did say that I would get into this stuff, and I'm getting chills on my arms, and the hair is standing up very tall on my arms. That is Spirit confirming that we are on the right track here. I had planned on doing my September Astro Highlights, Luna Notes, and Psychic Oracle read, and Spirit's been having me fall back into the flow, which is, you would think it's ironic because I'm a Pisces sun. I should be able to go with the flow like nothing else, right? I should be my little fishy self. However, the thing people forget about Pisces is they are actually two fish going in opposite directions, right? Now that can also represent as above, so below, and also they come back together. I'm seeing the, what is it, the lemniscat, the figure 8, right? I'm seeing the eternal loop. So a flow of abundance. Living in the flow of abundance, having an abundance mindset. How do you do that? You focus on all the things that you used to tear yourself down with, which most likely were thoughts and feelings projected onto you in your childhood or early experience that you eventually said to yourself. We talked about this a couple readings back about how whatever you say to your children, whether you're a parent or not, this is just a concept, whatever you say to your children becomes their inner critic later, right? So the most terrible things that our children say to themselves as adults, we taught them. It's time to be accountable. It's time to say, you know what? I wasn't always kind to myself. I continued family patterns that were not healthy. I did not want to do the work, and I continued to cause mental issues upon myself. And yes, the people who raised me definitely are accountable, but you can't force people to take accountability. They have to choose to be brave enough to stand in the light, speak their truth, and say, I effed up. I deserve to heal. I am brave enough to say that my children deserve to heal, and I'm going to take the steps necessary. It's similar, I'm catching for some of you, perhaps you have dealt with substance abuse in your life somehow, whether it was a parent or a family pattern, or you yourself have overcome it. If so, congratulations. If you've also taken accountability for your life, if so, congratulations. If you are a parent and you are learning to be a better one, if so, congratulations. If you aren't any of the above, thank you for holding space. Everyone has a different role, a different purpose in this life. That's one reason why boxes are not necessary, because if we are able to go with the flow and discover our true purpose, our true path, then we can fill up a space. Then we can build something. Then we can create foundations. I'm getting a reference to my Building Foundations series. I recently linked that a few videos back. I feel like some of you are getting overwhelmed. Let's all take a deep breath. And I'm going to teach you a new breath. It's called a box breath. I do breath work. It helps me in my life. I think it'll help you. Obviously, if you don't have strong lungs, don't do this, okay? Only do it if you feel called to. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a deep breath in, and then on the exhale, we're going to pretend it's like a little leaky balloon, right? And we're going to slowly, in 4 pauses, let it out, hold it, let it out, hold it, let it out, hold it, let it out, all the way, okay? Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, in. Out. How do you feel? You should feel like a little bit of weight just came off. I would not recommend doing that more than twice in a row because you can get really lightheaded doing it, but you know, it's a useful one, let me tell you. It brings you back to the present moment. I feel like I just cleared some of that anxious energy. And you know, if you aren't used to emotional regulation or acknowledging family systems and patterns, Well, then it's going to make you uncomfortable. We're talking about adapting to change. Oh, now a card wants to come out. The Eight of Pentacles. Look at that. Oh, wow. Wow, 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 y'all. Wow. Okay. We were talking about how you're about to be the Eight of Pentacles. This is how you graduate to doing the work every day. And again, we're transmuting the name work into service now. When you're doing what you love, and you have worked, you have put in the work, okay? You've already done your due diligence. We're talking about what we've done in the past with the Virgo South Node. Then you provide a foundation so you can dive off into your new beginning. It's like, it's not that you're abandoning ship by going with the flow. It's not that you're saying, oh, all these things could happen to me now. Oh gosh, no, that's called control issues. It's okay. It's all right. Why do you think it's difficult for me to go with the flow? Actually, I take that back. It is no longer difficult for me to go with the flow because I challenged myself, and spirit challenged me, and life challenged me to adapt to any circumstance. And to come from a place of not hypervigilance where you're constantly fearing the outcome, but you're actually accepting the help from spirit. You're accepting the intelligence. You're trusting yourself enough to know that you can handle anything that comes up at any moment, and you don't have to barrel through it. You can be steadfast. You can be like the Knight of Pentacles I'm seeing in my mind's eye, Knight of Pentacles. You can be steady, consistent. We talked about that energy a lot in our last several readings. So once you have created this kind of stability in your life by clearing karmic cycles, by loving yourself, by being consistent and acknowledging where you've done the work, so you can just be in the flow, right? That's why people are successful with whatever they do of service, we're going to call it, right? Because when you're doing something you love, that you are born to be, that you know you are great at, that fulfills your soul, that gives you a sense of meaning, then you get to be in the flow. And it's possible for every single one of you. And if you are feeling angry about this message, perhaps, and some people are going to absolutely just get very upset with me, and that's all right. I'm going to transmute your energy. You can learn to do that too. But if you're getting upset and you're saying, well, of course she can do this, and you're making assumptions about me and my life, don't. Because you don't know what I've been through. You don't know how hard I had to work. And that's the thing, to transmute, to feel like you always have to rush through things and you always have to do things to death. That's part of the toxic work paradigm. So start looking at it as, what do I love to do because it gives me meaning? Then you're being of service, right? And guess what else Virgo rules? Being of service. How have you been of service? Perhaps that's where your gifts lie. Did you think about that? And if you're thinking about not wanting to do the work because you don't want to do the work because you're afraid that the work's going to continue, guess what's going to happen? You're going to create more blocks for yourself, and you're going to have to keep doing the work, right? Because resistance creates more resistance on your outside reality. As within, so without. We also project that onto other people. We create paradigms. We recreate relations with other people. Through our sense of reality. Some of you might be going, oh, well, and I'm picking up on projections right now. It's one of my psychic gifts. I'm choosing to pick up on them. They used to overwhelm me. Now I choose what I filter in, and I do transmute it so it doesn't linger. My point is some of you are thinking, well, this, and this, and this, and this is terrible in my life. Sure, I'm sure it is. You think I didn't go through that too? Anybody who has, quote unquote, done the spiritual work most likely came from harsh circumstances, unless you are one of those fortunate souls that came into this life with less karmic situations and had a nurturing upbringing and chose to be a good person and chose to follow your pursuits. Even those people can come to a crossroads and go, this life I built for myself was quite comfortable, but I don't feel fulfilled, right? And we're talking about being like water. If you want to fulfill something, you have to start with yourself. And when you have nurtured yourself, you can nurture in your environment. You can be in this Empress energy. So I feel like this is kind of a side message to somebody who doesn't feel like they're quite in this energy and might be feeling a little envious or jealous. And yes, I just got a stabbing pain in my forehead, so that was confirmation of that psychic attack. Remember, our projections do actually affect people energetically, which means other people can affect us. Now, that doesn't mean anybody is a victim or anybody is a perpetrator. It just means that we all have a choice on how we act, how we think. Regardless of what you believe is possible, do you believe that? Do you believe your actions have consequences? Are you a good judge of character? Can you trust yourself? How do you master discernment? Follow your intuition. Be like water. Flow. We were talking about spiritual Aikido the other day. For those of my soul group that are spiritual warriors, as I am, I've been speaking on spiritual Aikido, and I shared a quote in one of my blogs recently from actually Astrology for the Soul book, which talks about the north and south nodes of every sign, by the way. It's a really big, like 600-page book. So if you're an astrologer or you're interested, definitely check out that book. Anyways, the quote, I'm going to pull another card here. Ace of Cups. Wow. This is a blessing of divine love and union. Yeah, that's how you accomplish that. Like water, you move. You don't attack. You don't counterattack. You defend yourself, but you defend yourself by getting out of the way. That is what spiritual Aikido is instead of getting stuck and letting somebody keep you on a loop, or somebody's, with their negative projections, thoughts, actions. And for some of you who are in the spiritual world, spells, which also speaking over someone's name negatively is a form of verbal witchcraft of speaking spells, because energy affects everyone. Keep in mind that you are a match to your environment. So if you hang out with people who gossip all the time, you yourself are a match to that. What does that say about you? Ace of Cups, this is a new love. It could be love, it could be romantic. I feel like this is talking about self-love, which it also represents. This is the gift of self-love. This, for some of you, that's what you've been working on with the Ace of Pentacles. I mean, the Eight of Pentacles. I don't know why I said ace. Maybe we're going to pull that too. I did have a reading where we got all four aces about a month ago. Ace of Pentacles. Somebody wants to build with you and love you. I just got for somebody. Wow, Four of Cups. Some of you don't see this coming though. Some of you do not see this coming. It looks like we're done with that message about regulation and thoughts and manifestation. This is one of the things I talk on. It's very specific to my channel. I combine advocacy, mindfulness, I combine creativity, transmutation, woo-woo, astrology, tarot, oracle, and psychic information channeled from spirit. Kind of a mixed bag, which is amazing, you know? It's amazing because I can actually tap into multiple different aspects of the collective and myself, who happens to be a very old soul, and provide something of substance to many different people. If you do know of any other readers or whatever you want to call it, I would love to network with like-minded people. I just pulled the Three of Wands. Okay, so we pulled the Two of Wands earlier, which we were talking about manifesting, waiting for your ships to come in. Guess what? Your ships are coming in. I just got full body chills, especially on my back. Someone may approach you and put their hand on your back. That sounded creepy, but I feel like it was a comforting touch, like a friend, like reassuring you that it's going to be okay. Something really great is coming for you. It is a sense of community. It is something that you have been trying to manifest for a long time, and you don't see it coming. Some of you might want to work on gratitude practices and being more in the present moment, meditating, thinking about everything you already have, and being in the attitude of gratitude in order to receive. And again, you don't need to do anything. Whatever this is, it's already on its way to you. And I can't say when it's on its way to you, and I certainly am not going to tell you that, because again, everybody's on a different timeline, and one choice can change your timeline. And that's not to scare anybody, that's to make you aware of living an intentional life if you actually want to manifest and direct it. Therefore, in a weird way, you do end up controlling your destiny, but you aren't a control freak. Does that make sense? Strangely enough, by going and surrendering to the flow, you actually end up being able to create the reality you want, but you accept that you're doing it with spirit. Now, as somebody who used to be agnostic and even atheistic at one point in my life, and that was due to, quite frankly, being church hurt, which I did heal that wound in me, but I'll say that I used to be somebody who felt like I would be giving up my independence if I believed in God. I used to be one of those, and that was many years ago. And I tended to associate with a lot of people who didn't have faith or were more pagan leaning, because I've always been open-minded, and also I am a witch. If you don't like that, thanks for hanging in. Have a great day. Anyways, I used to not believe in any of this stuff. I have completely transformed my life over the course of, I'd say, 15 years. And it doesn't mean that that's how long it's going to take you on your timeline, okay? If you're resonating with being in this energy, this is probably happening for you in the near future. I know some of you want a timing. I do actually have timing cards, but the reason I don't like to do timing cards is for a couple reasons. When you're manifesting, you don't want to hold on to your manifestation. You have to let it go, and you got to master that skill, right? Which means you also need to lurk. Someone could be lurking on you right now. Excuse me one moment. I'm going to ring the bell. 3, 2, 1. Interesting. But who cares? Who cares? Just protect your work, protect your vision, protect your manifestations. Remember to, when you are creating something, as excited as you may be when you start to see the signs and synchronicities of coming in for you, it's best to keep it to yourself. And the reason is projections. And you do have people in your energy who are happiness haters, we'll just put it like that, who are trying to intervene with your happiness for whatever reason. Perhaps some of them try to compete with you, and then they realize that there was no competition, because first of all, you aren't playing games, and second of all, they aren't actually trying. If these people want to spend all their time and focus on putting in all the work on causing harm to you instead of just putting in the work in themselves, then let them exhaust themselves. Let them go on their own loop. That's not your burden. We started this reading with the 10 of Wands next to the Devil. You're putting down other people's burdens, and that includes how they've made you feel about yourself that isn't true. If they're not in your life, they don't deserve to be in your energy. Simple. Cut them off. Move on. You're either on your way to creating this for yourself because of what you're doing, or you're already stepping into it. Some of you are about to receive huge blessings and you know it, and I'm getting chills as I say that. So just keep your mouth shut, keep your head down, and be grateful. It's that simple. Be like the hermit. We are in hermit mode. We are at the end of summer in the States and the beginning of fall soon to come, right? We are in a liminal space of a liminal space. 9 just came to my mind again. That synchronicity was coming up earlier. 9 is a number of graduations, of overcoming, of getting close to the end, the closing of a chapter. It's also about celebrations. 9, yet again, repeating number. It's a mirroring number. And of course, breaking it down, it enters into 9 again, because, yeah. So, some of you are graduating, or you have just graduated spiritually. Okay, if so, congratulations. It's due to your diligence and your hard work, but now it's time to embrace the Pisces North Node. It's time to embrace the flow. And the song saying just be easy. I don't know if you can hear that. Be easy. And I'm getting chills again. This is really powerful. Be your own guide, but allow Spirit to guide you. You're not giving up your freedom by believing in a higher power. You're actually choosing to believe in yourself because you feel a sense of camaraderie that you've never felt with anything else. And when you realize that we're all connected to Spirit, and when we realize that we all have the potential to actually live our best lives, and that's actually what Spirit wants for us. Spirit actually wants us to believe. They've been wanting me to channel this through. Spirit wants us to create. Spirit wants us to be happy. And we have to pretty much decondition ourselves from the past, come through the other end, and we are all at different places in our journeys. But it all comes down to choices. Did anyone ever read those books, Choose Your Own Adventure? I used to read those books. I'd go to the library and read those books. And I love those books. That's actually one thing that inspired my title, Tarot Quest, right? Because I'm also a guide, and I have a conjunct Aries and Venus and Mars. And I'm a 9th house Pisces, which rules, 9th house rules Jupiter, Sagittarius, the adventure, long distance travel, etc., etc. You get it. I'm a guide, okay? And I try to help people understand that sometimes the terrain is rough, but you are never alone. You are never alone. No matter how alone you feel, you are never alone. Ask the universe for signs and synchronicities, and then slow down enough to pay attention. Because when you are living a fast-paced, busy life all the time, and you are grinding yourself down, and you are letting the world consume you whole, and this could be your responsibilities, it could be your family, your friends, your social circle, your work, it could be your house, it could be a project you're working on, it could be politics, it could be global effect, it could be the weather, it could be your home situation if you don't have one. You know, it could be all kinds of things. Everybody's burdens are different. Spirit's saying, put down your burdens. Let them go. They're no longer serving you. They're actually what are keeping you stuck. And that sounds insane, right? Like, how do you just abandon ship? And that's the thing, you're not abandoning ship. You're not. You're actually choosing to assist yourself by believing and creating your own reality. The hardest thing is that in-between phase in manifestation, when you're going from, this is insane, there's no way this is going to work, to, you know, I've been doing this a while and I am kind of seeing things actually change. Okay, well, let's keep giving this a try. Then that transforms into, oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened. That was like exactly what I asked for. It took a month to come in, but it was exactly what I wished for. And you know what's funny? Is the moment I stopped thinking about it, the moment I stopped getting readings on it, the moment I stopped dwelling on all the terrible things that could happen and I actually released it, it came in. And then that goes to, oh my gosh, what else can I create? What else can I do? I'm getting chills as I'm saying this. And this was actually my experience over years, but it takes some people longer, some people shorter. It just depends on where you're at with the journey, right? No judgment on anyone, including myself. It's good to forgive ourselves, right? And sometimes certain things don't come in the way we want, and that's because Spirit is co-creating with us. And one thing I've learned is with going and adapting, going with the flow, and accepting change, is that it is always working out for us in our favor. And when you believe that, you look at it not like, oh, well, I'm expectant that everything is going to go well. No, you look at it as everything is a lesson. And when you can see the lesson and the message in every experience, you can see how it actually did work out for you in your favor, right? So an example is you forget something at home, you go back home even though you're really irritated because now you're going to be late for work, but then you don't get hit by a car. You get what I'm saying? It's that stuff actually does happen in real life where people avoid tragedy because they trusted their intuition, okay? It also helps people navigate. Think about it. Back in the day when we were all living in the wilderness, our species, right? Why do you think witchcraft was so powerful? Why do you think it's called folk craft? How do you think that came to be? It didn't come from the devil. It came from the land. It came from spirit. It came from a sense of survival. There were those that went out and protected the village with their hands, and there were those that spoke to spirit and gave the guidance to the ones that fought with their hands. There is a place for the spiritual, there is a place for the mundane, and they coexist. And each and every one of us has a different purpose in this life, okay? And you can find that purpose. You can do that. It does exist. It's just up to you on whether you want to find that purpose. Or are you content to stay where you are? If you are, then it's just not your time yet. Accept it. Forgive yourself. And, go back to your routine. Stop listening to readings. If you're going to dedicate yourself to the Matrix, well then, dedicate yourself to it. Enjoy your life. I wish you well. Wow, I pull the Two of Swords in reverse. Some of you have already made the decision to follow your bliss, so to speak. You've already made the decision to stop blocking this, and I say congratulations to you. Some of you are putting down your guard, and that's good, because that's how we learn to trust. I'm not saying let things happen to you. There's a way that you can protect yourself without having to fight for everything. Does that make sense? And that comes from healing trauma, by the way. The Emperor in reverse. Yeah, some of you feel like you have no authority or control over your domain. Some of you feel like you are victim to circumstance. And look, we all got to do things sometimes in our life that we don't like to do. Like perhaps you had to get a second job, or perhaps you had to change locations to get a better paying job, or perhaps you can't get a job and you're homeless. We'll just use those as examples, right? Perhaps you feel like things keep happening to you. Well, when things keep happening to you, when you're experiencing tower moments after tower moments, by the way, I just released, I believe, the last video I just uploaded, which might have been that channeled message, was how to make tower moments work for you, okay? And for those of you that don't know, the tower in the tarot represents dramatic change, unexpected change, and we've been talking about that a lot with astrology, with Uranus, the planet of unexpected change, being in Gemini, which rules communication, short distance travel, right? Anyways, and many other things. Some of you really need to look at where you are trying to force things to make them work because you feel like you have no control over your environment or no say. Where do you feel disempowered, and how can you transmute that into positive power? Okay? And it has nothing to do with everybody else and everything to do with the self. So don't think about what you feel like people are doing to you. Look at what you are allowing to be done to you. And ask yourself, why am I not respecting myself? Because that's what it comes down to. And I told you I give real talk here. All right. I also channel multiple different energies at once, not only the collective, but my guides that I work with. So we've got an interesting gamut of energies, okay? They're all safe. It's all for your highest and greatest good, so don't worry. All right. I think that was like this primary message of this reading. I'd like to wrap this up. However, I did promise y'all we would talk about this offer that's coming in. So those of you that actually made it through the spiritual message, this is kind of your reward, you could say. We get to have fun now. Are you ready? about balancing light and shadow, everyone. That's been my personal spiritual training that I have come out of, is establishing temperance, okay? Being able to balance in any environment, because I'm balanced within the self. Again, as within, so without. Wow, okay, so we pulled the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. We were talking about the Knight of Pentacles, about being steadfast. And we now have 3 out of 4 knights on the table. I'd say there's some kind of delay, or something is trying to stop or delay this. I feel like that's connected to the 5 of Swords in reverse and the Devil. So yeah, there's still energies that are trying to corrupt whatever this is coming towards you, Spirit. What do you want us to know about that? That is for the highest and greatest good. We aren't looking to get stuck in karmic cycles and talk about their energy, because this isn't about them. They're just a little side note. They may think they're the main character, but by being destructive and trying to harm other people, they're actually making themselves the size of an ant. And that's their fault, not yours. Page of Cups in reverse. Someone's trying to stop some kind of apology or small offering. The Moon. They're trying to make it to where you can't see, but everything is about to be revealed. So I'm getting a side message for those of you that have literally had people try to sabotage your progress, or whatever this message or person, or I'm guessing for some of you it has to do with love, whatever's coming towards you. They're about to be exposed. What does Spirit have to say about that? The Star in reverse. I just noticed my cards got turned upside down. That's significant. And then I see the Sun and the 3 of Cups. Holy shnikes. I was seeing the Sun in my mind's eye when I said exposed. I'm getting chills. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. 3 of Cups and the Sun. This was a group who tried to take your light. And they are about to be exposed if they haven't already. So justice is coming, whoever you are. Justice is coming. Yeah, Knight of Wands with the 6 of Swords under that. It's coming in swift, it's coming in hot, and it's coming in right. Perhaps this person is bringing you your justice. This could not be about love, but this could be about a quality of life that's changing because of something you learned, because somebody was loving enough to come forward with the truth. 6 of Swords can represent travel, especially with the Knight of Wands, so that could be confirming this Knight of Cups here, and also the Knight of Swords. And it's also Spirit bringing you to calmer waters. You have a swift change for some of you. So this is why Spirit has been preparing you to get ready for change, to rest, to receive. Because when this starts, it's going to happen quick. Interesting. 6 of Pentacles and the 5 of Pentacles on the split here. Someone is going to be generous, and it's because you chose to get yourself out of a lack mentality. You are now in alignment with more abundance. Take that abundance however you want. It can mean anything in your life. It doesn't have to be money, but because it is Pentacles, I'm guessing spiritual wisdom and physical abundance. If some of you were waiting on some kind of assistance, it's coming.